when I was in 10th grade, I was becoming a good athlete, but after the wins and losses, you kind of wonder and you say, is that all there is to life? And it's kind of embarrassing a little bit, but it was an ice storm in Atlanta in January. The lights went out and my mother couldn't get home. My parents were divorced, but my mother couldn't get home from Emory Hospital. So I'm at home alone and somebody comes to the door, knocks on the door, and it's this girl named Gail and her minister. And the minister went over the 4 laws of Christ, which we used to do with Campus Crusade, I think, the 4 spiritual laws. And they went over that with me, and I said, I want Jesus in my life. And I accepted Christ when in an ice storm in Atlanta, and it changed my whole life, because at that point then I started becoming involved in FCA, I started becoming involved in Young Life, and it was a life-changing event.
I first met Mickey Jacobs 1980. I went to Vanderbilt University. I was fortunate enough to walk on and play football. At that time, Mickey was coaching. He was a defensive line coach, and that's where we kind of made our first connection.
Well, Mickey was 2 years ahead of me at Vanderbilt, and as most of you know, he was a member of a very stellar recruiting class, football, that first started with Bill Pace, then Steve Sloan, then Fred Pankos his senior year. I was playing baseball there, dating a girl who would not go out with me on a certain night because FCA was that night, and have football players come knock on the door. I was very interested in the football program, having grown up in Nashville, and knew about the players. And Mickey back then, with that orange hair that he had as a 19-year-old, was easy to pick out. And so I got to know him as an acquaintance, really, during that time, being 2 years older.
Mickey was given a devotional or a talk somewhere for FCA when he was at Vanderbilt. The school that I was headmaster at had a mission statement that said to nurture and challenge each whole person to the in body, mind, and spirit to the glory of God. So we were looking for teachers who could nurture in body, mind, and spirit. He wasn't even thinking about teaching at that time. He didn't know, I don't know whether he knew what he wanted to do, but he did want to work with kids some way. And so that's the way we got connected.
Mickey and I both attended Vanderbilt University. Mickey was a football player. I was a basketball player. I was a senior when Mickey was a freshman. So we knew each other, but we didn't know each other as friends at the time. Where we really got to be friends was when Mickey and Barry were attending McHenry Methodist Church, same place my wife and I, Dinah, attended. And we began a relationship there, a friendship there, that has withstood over 50 years of friendship. Our relationship was nurtured at church and continued to be nurtured through church activities and various ministries. FCA was one that Mickey and I both participated in.
Yeah, I met Mickey in the halls of my high school in Cincinnati. He was, at that time, a coach at Vanderbilt, and he came up, and I guess that was his area. He recruited me for football, and so that's the first time I got to meet him. But he was the coach that brought me down here to Nashville from Cincinnati.
One of the things I've learned just from observing him would be the value of loyalty. I think it's probably no accident that he's being honored by FCA for long-standing service. That's kind of his thing, to dive deep and to be fiercely loyal to people and organizations. And so I work with him, and there's a number of people in our firm I can tell you that have succeeded, including myself, because he invested early and stayed consistent. I've seen consistency with his friends over the years, with his church. Even his loyalty to Vanderbilt, which makes no practical sense, has somehow rubbed off on me too. So yeah, sometimes it's hard to tell if he's just resistant to change or loyal a bit. I think it's a great characteristic, and yeah, something I've definitely learned from.
My most memorable FCA moment would probably be, it's an embarrassment to say this, but we were sharing Christ with one of our football players at Vanderbilt. And I remember we went down to his room one night, and there was 3 of us in there with him, and first night he was really close to accepting Christ, but he said, no, I don't want to do it tonight. And then we came back again the second night, and we talked to him probably for another hour and a half, and he said, I'm not quite ready yet. And then third night we came back in and we did the same thing, and I remember finally when we were finished with that, almost finished that night, I said, "Are you going to accept Christ or not? Because we're not going to keep coming back." And he did accept Christ that night and ends up being one of my greatest friends in the world.
I think God has put Mickey Jacobs in my life as a role model. You know, I think all of us have some role models in our lives. The most important one I've got is probably my wife, but second would be Mickey Jacobs. And so I've gotten to see him love his family well. They are so important to him. I hear him talk about it all the time. He's modeled that for me. Love my family well and be willing to listen to others.
Through FCA, I soon understood, hey, wait a minute, I'm not a Christian. I don't have a personal relationship with Jesus. And Mickey, being 2 years younger, and another guy named Rick Duncan, who was on the baseball team, I watched their actions as well as listened to their words and just really analyzed what kind of person they were. And Mickey and Rick, as we all know, in college, you unfortunately do some stupid things, but I never saw Mickey Jacobs or Rick Duncan do anything of which they would be embarrassed today.
We were mentors for each other, even though he was a lot younger than I was. I didn't know much about finance, so when he went to work at Trustco, he took care of me and did a great job, and well, Beth and I both. But he was a natural. We have a triangle in our philosophy, body, mind, and spirit triangle, where the basis of spiritual life, and then the academic and athletic sides go up towards God. And so I would call him the triangle man. I mean, if he'd been at our school when he was in high school, he would be perfect for us.
Mickey is, even though he's younger, he's somebody I look up to. Mickey's got some unique abilities. He leads from behind. He's a servant leader. He doesn't have to be out in front of a crowd, but he does a lot behind the crowd. And how he's affected me, when I started my business, Mickey was the guy that I would call, and I would ask him not only business questions, but human resource questions, and what do you think about this? I always felt that Mickey was full of wisdom, probably beyond his years.
He took it on himself just to care for me and always look out for me. He coached defense. I played offense, so I wasn't directly coached by him, but he always was always checking in on me in his silent, methodical, steady way. So that was a big impact over the years. I would say even when I was playing, when I was a sophomore, I got demoted at one point, and Mickey came over and just stuck something under my dorm room. It was just a Bible verse from Romans, and it was that verse that says that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. That's kind of how he did my life. He's always popping in at different times. My mom passed away 2017 and went back to up there, and I get to the graveside, and there's Mickey with a couple of the other guys from Vanderbilt, and I didn't even know he was coming. I didn't even know he was aware of it, and it just meant the world to me, and that's kind of how he's done my life.
The perspective that I add is undoubtedly going to be different from those that are involved with FCA. Oh, so many years ago when we first got married, I remember the overwhelming sense of how well Mickey was taking good care of me. Fast forward to now, and I can say that not only has that continued, but also it has expanded to a whole list of beneficiaries. Mickey spends countless hours every day caring for others, and he serves them with a very happy heart. His people include our family, whom he helps almost daily, and that includes me as well. He operates with an above and beyond approach, in particular to those who need help, who need an advocate, and who can just benefit from having a good friend. They include business clients, current friends, and former acquaintances. They include members of our church, and in particular the deaf ministry and the special needs ministry of our church. They include former teammates and his former players. I assume they must include those involved with FCA because we're here today. I'm just scratching the surface. His arms reach out very wide, and they encircle a host of different people and multiple ministries. Mickey's a combination of heart and action. He loves Jesus, he loves his family and friends, and he loves organizations that lift up, help, and spread the gospel. His time, energy, and resources have benefited many. I'm honored to be his wife and partner in life, and I'm grateful for those of you who have walked alongside him all these days to do what he does. Thank you to the FCA for noticing.
Yes, a big congrats to you, Dad. I think ever since I was born, before I was born, you had your heart has been for FCA, and you've served them well, and I can think of no better ambassador for the organization. So, congrats.
Mickey, congratulations on this honor tonight. I tried to figure out why they called it the Red Skeleton Jacket honoree. I thought maybe it had to do something with your red hair, that they're naming this after you, but for whatever reason, you are well deserving of this. You're a godly man. You live out what God has commanded us to do, to love God and love others. So congratulations. Thank you for all you've done for FCA and will continue to do.
Mickey, it's certainly an honor to be a participant, having been on the board of FCA with you, having known you for close to 50 years and watched your movements, to be the recipient of the first Red Jacket Award for FCA. It's certainly deserving. I can think of no other person as worthy as you to receive this first award of the Red Jacket, and it is important that the first person represent the highest level of exceptionalism in the work with FCA. So congratulations, Mickey. I love you.
Well, he's a perfect selection. Nobody can be like Mickey. And I would say that's the perfect first guy to wear the red jacket would be Mickey Jacobs.
When I was told about this, I said it couldn't happen to a better person. And it's because Mickey never seeks attention himself. I think it's great when somebody reaches out and says, we want to honor you, we want to recognize you. And so, Mickey, I'm excited for you. I'm thankful that this is happening to you. And I thought about this, and his dad would be really proud of him.
Well, Mickey, I love you, and very honored to be a part of anything to do with you, and then just to see you get an award that acknowledges your impact on so many people and how you've impacted so many lives. And I'm just one of many of people that you've really cared for. So I'm very encouraged by you, and I'm very happy for you just to have this honor.
I am honored and humbled that I would be chosen for this, because what I like to think I've been very consistent over the years, and so I do appreciate, I guess, being recognized. At the same time, I'm humbled to say, there's a lot more people worthy of this than me. But I hope to carry the standard, and hopefully we'll have another Red Jacket person next year that we get it to. And so I'm honored that y'all would have me in this position.